Hey everybody, Ben Frederickson here at Busch Stadium alongside my Post-Dispatch colleague Derrick Goold. And Derrick, we just covered the first Cardinals series of 2020. It looks a little different. We're watching it through masks, limited to the press box or just around outside of it, and there's no fans in the stands. We kind of spent these three games getting used to what this looks like, but there was also some very important baseball being played in this 60-game season. That this three-game series is a big deal. We're going to talk about both of those things, but starting out, just what did you make of getting our first kind of temperature gauge, no pun intended, on this 2020 season?
Well, it was a hot weekend, that's for sure. The heat index was soaring up there, 100 degrees. But it was also it was really interesting just watching the game unfold with empty seats. It reminded me, to be honest, Ben, of a lot of those like rain delays where the game picks up at 3 a.m. or the game picks up at midnight, and there's very few people in the stands, if any, and the game kind of goes on silently into the night. And yet, two of these were day games, and the sun was out for most of the innings played in this three-game series against the Pirates, and so it kind of had the ambiance of and the atmosphere of one of those like games that is delayed by rain and no one sticks around. They all hit the local tap houses, and instead this was the actual game. I thought the game was not as clumsy as I expected, which was good. The crispness of play, the Cardinals defense was superb, and it seemed like all the protocols that some other ballparks were having, they didn't have those issues here. The game's pace did not seem like guys were groping for what the new rules were, for what they could do, what they couldn't do. I mean, we even saw a manager-umpire argument where they paused to put on their masks at one point in time. So I'm really encouraged by that, because I was wondering if the mechanics were going to slow the game down even more so than the game actually slows itself down.
Saw some high fives and some pats on the rear end after big hits, and yeah, some hugs. So they're working through it, but yeah, it did seem like once they got out there that the one thing that stood out to me was the intensity. I mean, this was a Sunday afternoon game the Cardinals lost before a road trip early in the season. These games at times turn to kind of turn into a game where you say, hey, you shrug and say, okay, we'll try to get the next series. And the Cardinals were not groveling after losing this game, but you could tell they were disappointed that they didn't get the sweep. And that's what you're going to see in a 60-game season. There are not any throwaway games. And the Cardinals really need to take advantage of games against teams they should beat, and the Pirates are one of them. So they did get the series win, and now they head out to play a team in Minnesota that I think has all of like 6 home runs within its first couple of games. They're hitting the ball well. It's going to be hot in Minnesota as they're in Chicago, but they're hitting the ball well, and you have a team that is probably favored to win that division. A steep uphill increase in what they're going to see in the Twins. Before we turn the lens on what's going to happen here on this first road trip and all the complications that go into that, what did you make of what we saw from the Cardinals? We knew the defense would be sharp. We saw, Adam Wainwright, really show some of his veteran toughness in a good start in the heat. Dakota Hudson not quite as sharp in his outing, and Jack Flaherty looked great. Cardinals impressed with their offense early, didn't get as much of it in this Sunday game. What do you make of where the team is right now?
Yeah, I thought the offense was pretty good in the first 2 days. Showed a lot of facets of it. The Pirates they pitched well, and certainly when their bullpen got involved with the lead, the Cardinals didn't have much of a chance. A couple walks early. They had the starter where they could have, Mitch Keller. They had him where they could have taken advantage. A crooked number was an extra base hit away. They just didn't get that extra base hit. The power that they showed on opening night, and then the depth that they showed on Saturday, both of which are important answers for the looming offensive question, just weren't there. Credit to Keller, but the Cardinals had to kind of steal a run with Colton Wong's speed, and that's going to be an element of this team with Colton Wong, Tommy Edman near the top of the order, and then Bader or Lane Thomas towards the back end of the order. So I think we're seeing some elements of what they want to be as an offense, and the question is, will they do so consistently? I think if you give me 58 more games, or I guess now 57 more games, we'll have a good answer. But it's going to be there all season long, and it's quite a contrast with the team that they're about to go play, which is just bombastic. The team that you and I both picked to be in the World Series, the best American League team, and they can put up runs in a hurry, and particularly so at their ballpark. So it'll be really interesting to see how Carlos Martinez, returning to the rotation, and Miles Michaelis, who is healthy and back after what would have been an injury that put him on this IL to start the season, what they do against just a powerhouse lineup that the Twins have.
Some big questions as the season shifts to Minnesota. How does Kim hold up as the Cardinals closer? Shaky in his first chance. He hasn't had one since then. And then also I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about Matt Carpenter, who looks so great in the kind of the exhibition warm-ups. He's off to a little bit more of a quiet start through these first 3 games, and then fouls a ball painfully off his knee here Sunday. So that's going to be something to monitor moving forward. And then I think we're going to see it, the discussion about the bottom of the lineup. They're all 3 outfielders. When those guys find a way to contribute, the Cardinals have won in these first 3 games. When they go quietly, and we saw Lane Thomas in center for this game Sunday, then that kind of really shortens the lineup. So that discussion is going to continue as well. The Cardinals, unless somebody changed it Sunday, are the only team that has its 3 outfielders hitting in the final 3 spots of a lineup, which is very interesting. Even when they switch the outfielders out, the order stays more or less the same. So that's going to be a big topic for this team. How much churn can they get from the bottom there? Now, not so much the baseball, but what's this going to look like for you? You are going to be on the road covering the team. We've got Jim Thomas in Edmonton. He's staying in the bubble, but you're going to be out driving, covering the AL and NL Central opponents that the Cardinals go to meet. What's this going to look like for you? Do you have your trip all mapped out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a road map actually in my scorebook, but I also have a phone that has a map. They come equipped.
It's 2020. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I usually just go with like the AAA Atlas.
So it's a little different. Yeah, it's a little different than when I had to hit the road to cover high school football or high school basketball in Louisiana all those years ago. I'll be driving along. I got the car all set up, and I got my little trusty little lunchbox here with all my with an extra mask and lots of hand sanitizer that I can know that is handy. My COVID-19 kit, as I call it, and then just making the right choices. And I've been approved to go cover the road games, and now I have to rise to the challenge of writing like I'm there and finding things that you can see there and offering our readers and our subscribers something different because we are willing to be there.
Yeah, and you're going to do a great job. So drive safe and Godspeed on the road, and we'll be checking in with you time to time back here in St. Louis. I really encourage folks to check out all the coverage from the opening series at stltoday.com, also in the pages of the Post-Dispatch. If you missed it, our season preview is out, and that's still available online as well. Derrick's podcast, the best podcast in baseball, chats every day of the week, pretty much 3 days a week. You can find a chat that includes some Cardinals conversation, including the Cardinals chat on Monday. I go on Tuesday. Videos, the inside pitch. We got the Cardinals covered from every base. So be sure to check out stltoday.com. And thank you for all of those who are following along this season with the help of us here at the Post-Dispatch. So for Derrick Goold, I'm Ben Frederickson. We will talk to you next time.